Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of This Mess. But hello, hi. Boy, I've got good stuff to talk about today, so I'm really hyped to be here, really hyped to share some stuff with you. But first, how are you? Is everything going okay? Happy February 24th. If you're watching this the day it's posted, it's February 24th. It's Twin Peaks Day. I think I will be watching at least the first season tonight after I eat dinner, so yeah, I've got some plans. How are you? Will you be watching Twin Peaks? Somebody please talk to me. So I've got a book and two movies to talk about today because it was a good week in werewolf world. Year of a Werewolf paid off this week. I know that won't always be the case. It hasn't always been the case so far, but we live to dream, and that's how we're going. So I want to talk about the book first. So the book that I read was Shapeshifter by J.F. Gonzalez. And let me tell you something. The fact that this book doesn't get talked about more as a great werewolf book hurts my feelings. This book is like if a bunch of werewolf fans filled out a questionnaire and the book was built from their answers. That's how good this book is. It's just so good. And I don't want to get too much into it, too much into the meat, because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But we know who the werewolf is almost immediately. We're not playing hide and seek. It's not the kind of mystery of figure out who the werewolf is. We know who our werewolf is. And while we play a little bit with the mythology, there's a lot of answers that are just kind of like tossed to the side. You know, with werewolf movies and monster movies in particular, monsters that have a history and a mythology built behind them, we always get the parts in the movies and the books that explains how the curse was gotten. How do you end the curse? How do you save the person who's cursed? We don't get any of that in this. And while I do like the explanation of the curse, I like the mythology behind it, it somehow wasn't needed in this. Our werewolf has no idea how he got the curse. It just kind of happened one night, which was very Cycle of the Werewolf for me, because the Reverend doesn't quite know how he got the curse, except for a brief mention of some flowers that he found in a cemetery one day. And it's the same with our werewolf in this book. Has no idea how he got the curse. It's just something he's trying to live with, something he's trying to control to the point where he's not actively killing people. And the heart of this book, the tension, is blackmail. Someone has found him out and is using him. And fantastic tension all throughout. Fantastic gore, fantastic creature action. And the ending. Ooh, if you've been here, if you've listened to me talk at all about movies or books, you know the ending means a lot to me. Me in particular. Because I think the ending can make or break a story. With this one, honestly, it wouldn't have made too much of a difference. I was hooked. I mean, completely obsessed with this book by chapter 2. I was like, oh, this is good. By the end, I don't think a bad ending would have ruined this book, but the fact that it had a great ending, just the cherry on top of the sundae. It's a bleak ending. And I do like those sometimes. I think happy endings irritate me, but I do love a good bleak ending. And it does. It has a bleak yet satisfying ending. And I just have to tell you, if you're a werewolf fan, this is a must read. This is one of those that should be up there with the Howling trilogy, with Ravenous, with Cycle of the Werewolf. This is a must read because it's just so good. It's enjoyable cover to cover. Now, I have an old leisure paperback copy of this book. The cover looks like this. It is currently out of print. However, Brian Keene, who is the executor of J.F. Gonzalez's literary estate, announced this past week that this book, Shapeshifter, will be re-released this spring. And it looks like it has a new cover. It's an amazing image. If you know the book, you'll understand a couple little details in this picture. New cover looks like that. Yeah. So it'll be out this spring. I will on my social media, and maybe here too, talk about when it's available again, because I love this book so much. I want the new copy, and I can't recommend it enough. I really can't. Shapeshifter by J.F. Gonzalez, currently out of print, will be back in business soon, and I'll let you all know when that comes out, because I must insist. I must insist. If you're a werewolf fan, you gotta read this one. Okay, so let's talk movies. The Tubi spiral this week was real, but I found two. I hesitate to give super accolades for these movies. These movies are stupid. They're very stupid. However, I think some of the stupidity was on purpose, because they both ended up being silly. The first movie I picked, from the title, knowing full well it was going to be silly, and that movie is Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. This movie is based on a series of comics, and let me say something that I didn't like about this movie was the story suffered because they were jamming as many sight gags into this as they could, which was fun. It's a very fun movie, but if we did like 20% less sight gags, it would have been great. There was also the whole thing about the story. So when you're constructing a story, you have the question as the creator, what does my main character want? What is their driving force? What do they want most out of life? And then the story is built around them trying to get that thing, or you, as the sadistic author, trying to keep them from getting that one thing they want so much. And the problem with this is Bubba, our werewolf, gets what he's wanted this whole time very early in the movie, and we end up with a bunch of kind of dicking around. Like he's not trying to accomplish much, even though he does get a secondary kind of adventure placed before him. You have to do this, and he takes on the what's the word I want? I've lost the word. You have to stop this. It's a demon look character, but they keep calling him like a demon lawyer. And at first you think he's the devil, because if you see him, it's a guy who's painted all red with little tiny black horns coming out of his forehead, which is great. I have to tell you, I love that really simplistic, really tropey kind of look. And it was fun. It's just the story needed a little bit of tweaking. However, I laughed a lot during this movie. They wanted me to laugh, and I laughed. I had a great time watching it. My husband actually watched it with me. He usually nopes out of Werewolf Thursday in this house, but he watched this one with me, and he laughed a lot. I laughed a lot. The movie is silly. The main character is kind of a layabout. He's kind of useless, and he happens upon this opportunity to become everything he wants to be as a man. He's balding, he's self-conscious about it, he doesn't want to be balding anymore, he wants to be tough, he wants to be intimidating. So, very Wishmaster style, this werewolf, this demon, gives him his wish, which turns him into a werewolf. And the werewolf, the creature costume is great. I was reading in the trivia, they wanted to make sure that this werewolf costume could smile. So it's very toned down so that you can still see a lot of the actor's face. He's a guy trying to talk with big teeth in his mouth, but it works. It's enjoyable. He looks like a werewolf, and they put in a lot of like dog growling noises in with it. This movie was a lot of fun. And the creator of the comics, his name is Mitch Hyman. He plays our antagonist. He's playing this demon lawyer guy. And there's something about the juxtaposition of how he plays this demon lawyer. It's very cool, very understated, but also kind of ornery. And juxtapose that next to the guy who plays Bubba, who's he's kind of tightly wound while also being kind of useless and stupid. The way they play off of each other, it's a lot of fun. So this is a movie I absolutely would recommend. It's on Tubi now, Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. I laughed a lot in this movie. It's a little much, but not a waste of your time, not at all. So after Bubba was done, I was like, okay, let's see if we can find a serious werewolf movie. I've been looking for the funny ones the past few weeks, and it's, it is what it is with low budget movies, but I happened upon this one, A Werewolf in England. And again, this movie is stupid, but I think that's on purpose. And again, I found myself loving it. I think I would rewatch this movie, actually. That's how much I liked it. So, A Werewolf in England. First of all, I think that title is kind of misleading because there are several werewolves in this movie. I don't know why it has that title. Several werewolves. Did I make room for the... I don't know. Maybe the title popped up and the picture that I put up will just partially block me. That's fine. That's not what you're here for. But this movie starts off great. It very reminiscent of the old Hammer films, the beginning. And I thought I was in for something serious. I thought I was in for something that was going to be that kind of gloomy, gothic atmosphere that Hammer used to do. No, this movie goes full stupid pretty fast. And the thing is I liked it. I liked it. This movie is about a man of the law. I can't remember what they called him, like councilman or something. They are in England. Everybody's got the accent. They're in a coach, and he's escorting a man who was caught murdering somebody to the local magistrate, who of course isn't in the same town, that everything's spread out, where he will be convicted of this murder and sentenced to death. And the man in the coach, who was found in the act of murdering somebody. He chopped someone's head off, and he keeps trying to say, no, it wasn't a man when I killed them. It was a monster. This was in self-defense. This was an act of self-defense. I am not a murderer. And this lawman, who is kind of a heel, except he's also, like, once shit starts going down, he's a badass. The coachman stops on the trail, and he pops out and he's yelling at the coachman, why are we stuck? We've got places to be. And the coachman's like, look, there's a storm. We've got to seek shelter. There's an inn just down there. We'll go check in at the inn and we'll ride the storm out. We'll still make it to the magistrates tomorrow. Everything will be fine. So they go to this inn, and immediately we're met with creepy people. And it goes from there. The inn is full of people, whole cast of characters. And what's going on? I don't want to spoil anything. The people at the inn, who are very creepy, they're not the werewolves. But the werewolves do show up. Now, I do want to point something out, because it's hilarious. I don't think it was on purpose, but they had enough money for 3 werewolf costumes. And the werewolf costumes are good. They're not the worst I've seen. I would prefer practical effects over CGI any day when it comes to werewolves. And these are costumes. They're not articulated in any way. The mouths don't open. It's just a fuzzy costume with a big wolf head. But they look good. Except there's one that kind of, like, they all look different. They made sure to give them individual characteristics. But again, there's only 3. We'll get back to that. But one of these werewolves kind of has, like, rabbit features. Like, he's got 2 really long front teeth, and he's got really long ears. He kind of looks like that weird rabbit thing from Donnie Darko. That guy kind of looks like that. But what's funny about that is this is a group of tough people in this inn who are fighting these werewolves. So they kill them. They kill quite a lot of them. And what happens is the people who are injured in the course of fighting these werewolves then themselves turn into werewolves. Because they made the werewolves look different, you can tell when they're reusing the costumes. Which, I love that, because this is a small budget movie, but it's a small budget movie made with people who cared about details and made with real actors. The same with Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. We have actors, people who know how to act, and I love it so much. Small budgets, bad effects here and there, but fun. And A Werewolf in England, just, it has a fun ending. It's not a bleak ending. I just said, with the book, how much I like bleak endings. This one, it doesn't. It's a happy ending, but it's a fun movie. One piece of content warning. If you've ever wanted to see a werewolf release a torrent of steaming diarrhea all over two men's heads, you'll get to see that in this movie. Yeah. That and much more. Definitely recommend this one. I would probably watch this one again. If I ever ran across this one on Blu-ray or DVD, I think I would buy it. I really, despite myself, really like this movie. Now, you know I have a taste for garbage. You know I have a taste for B movies. But this one hits the sweet spot. Both of them on Tubi, free to watch. By all means, go for it because this was fun. So that's it. 3 great things this week. Shapeshifter by J.F. Gonzalez, Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, and A Werewolf in England. Please get on that, watch and read, and come and talk to me. Let me know what you thought. Have you seen these movies? Have you read this book? What did you think? And that'll be it this week. We're going to keep it. We're not short this week, but that's it. Again, happy Twin Peaks Day. Go watch Twin Peaks. And I will see you next week, probably with less good news, but we will see. So bye!